And you too. Okay. Everyone can hear me? Please answer in the chat there so I can see you. You can hear me. Let me share my screen with you guys. Okay, thank you guys. Let me share my screen. I need to realize how to do this first. Here it is. So yeah. Can you see my screen? Okay. Oh. Um, okay. So today I will talk about the on-the-fly overhauling. I already overhauled totally one app, and I'm in the process with two more. And the challenge is like in all the cases, in these three cases, I championed in an app that was built for another developer and was suffering with poor performance and also suffering with maintenance aspects, so hard to maintain, not performing well. Every time someone fixes one bug, another couple of bugs appear. So we decide to overhaul it. So to overhaul an app, what I would say, you need to like follow these four main steps, like know where you are, know where you are going, identify your path and pave the road. So after this, you are good to like mainly rebuild the front end or like reconnect the front end with the data. So that's what we'll talk today. So the first thing to know where you are is to create a sitemap, like very basic stuff. This is the sitemap of one of the apps that I overhaul. Like the red ones are marked because they were not accessed or old stuff or something. And the green ones were the pages that are being accessed by the app. So by doing this, you can have like a great overview of the app and like what is garbage, what you can just delete, or what you need to totally rebuild. The second step is export your database, and we have Lucas with us today. Lucas has a very good script that he runs, already run to me 2 times, and it like basically you export your application in Bubble, and it creates a code to be imported to Lucid Shard. So this is the database of one of the apps that I'm overhauling right now. Um, every blue box is a table. Every line is a field. So it is like about 100 tables and almost 1,000 of fields. I have another app that I'm working to that has 2,000 fields and 170 different tables. It's just the tables. Here is the option sets. So it also has a lot of option sets as well. So after exporting the database, you need to identify your main features. And in this phase, you really just list them. So you know what is the main features you need to rebuild. By doing this, you know where you are. And so next steps is realizing where you are going. So to realize where you are going, you need to establish a new sitemap and to question yourself if it should be a single page app or like a not single page but some pages app. Like usually in the apps that I work, we have like 3 or 4 main pages, like one for each role. For instance, like you can have an admin portal that is a single page app, and then you can have a like main user customer portal that is a single page app, and so on. So you don't need to have just one, but it's better to user experience if you can put multiple pages together. So this is like the page map after the overhauling process instead of the previous one. The next step is establish your main system architecture, and this is one very important stuff to do, and I will deep down into it in the next session about developing for scale. But it's essentially like, do not repeat yourself, use reusables, put everything together, like use custom events, use database triggers, and create stuff between the front end and back end. Use no front end reusable. So reusables that has no text, no inputs, no groups, no repeating group, but a lot of custom events that you can use in multiple places in your app. So this is like, in this phase, you should establish these and have a good idea of how you will segment your app and how you will split your app into main blocks or main modules. After doing this, you need to establish your new database model and like do this in a Lucidchart as well, creating the tables and establishing the relationships. It may seem that you'll be losing time or you should jump straight forward to Bubble, but it will actually save you a lot of time and when you go to maintenance or when you need to onboard a new developer in your team, or when you need to make changes in the future. So this is the where you were going stage. So after doing this, you know exactly what is the like new version of your app. And then you need to identify the path. This is like the most complex part of the overhauling task. And the first thing you need to do here is create a migration diagram. By migration diagram, what I mean is essentially these. So this is the old table, the table of the like first version of the app, the dark blue ones, and the light blue ones are new tables. And what I did here was establishing like the migration where the data is coming from and to where it's going to. So for instance, we have here this table, multiple, and it will be usual, especially if your app was developed like for 2 or 3 years by different developers. People will like create fields without really thinking on it and without really thinking if this is necessary or if you could use another field to do the same job. And in the end, you end up with something like this. So for instance, for this new field that I created here, I have like 5 different, the same information came from 5 different fields. The image, it's not good. So let me show you the real stuff. So for instance, we have in that app, like OAuth for multiple different platforms, OAuth providers, TikTok, Google, Instagram, Microsoft. Yeah. And all of them, like every OAuth has the same structure. Every OAuth has an access token expiration date, a code expiration date, a refresh token expiration date. So you don't need in your table to have like TikTok access token, Gmail access token, and so on. So what we're doing is like putting all of them together in just one table. The table is named OAuth, and it only has one access token. And it has the OAuth provider. So if it is like TikTok, we'll put TikTok here and fill the table, and that's what we are doing. So another example of this is here. So this is user table, right? And we are migrating to a new table called entity. But for instance, in this user table, we have like last step taken onboarding, onboarded as a flag, date sign up completed, if it's a new user or no, if the brand complete the onboarding. So all of that information relates with onboard step. So this is what these diagrams show, that we'll take the information from those fields and put in this new field here. So let me find the screen that I need to. I don't know where it is right now. Maybe this. Yeah, this one. All right. So this is like the migration diagram. So after you create the migration diagram, you need to create sync database triggers. So what it means is, like, you need to duplicate your database and put the data in the new model. And to do so, what I do is I create database triggers. So I basically create a custom event, like to create entity from user. This is 2 different tables. Entities like the new table, and user is the old one. And then some steps to insert entity, to update entity, and like to create the data, to take the data from user and put it into the entity. In this app, we still are in the initial phase of that data migration, but we will need to create a second custom event migrating data from entity to user as well. And then I create like database triggers. So when a user is created, it will create an entity. When a user is deleted, it will delete the entity. If the user is updated, it will update the entity. And you need to do this to every single table that you are migrating. So why you do this? So you create the sync database triggers to ensure that while your app is running, the former one, the original one, you are creating the data in the new structure, and you are and these data keep updating. So you don't need an outage to like stop your app, migrate the data, and then put your app live again. So the old app will be running, and you will be creating and updating all the data in the new database model through those database triggers. After these, you need to create structuring elements, so custom events into non-front-end reusables and main reusables as well. So create everything that you will need to support your app besides the front end, like all the database triggers, all the reusables to like create a new record in a table, update records in tables, and do like main stuffs. In that app, for instance, we have a approval process of DOs, and then those DOs have established specific statuses, and then we have a flow. So we create custom events to make that movement. So to like approve a DO or reprove a DO or that kind of stuff. So you need to do these in that phase as well. So one example of non front end reusable elements is this reusable element. It is named email workflows. It has no front end element, so there is no group there, no repeating group, no text, no button, anything, just custom events. And the custom events are, for instance, like create and send email verification, notify admins of a new admin, send admin invite email, send reset password email. So in every page in your app, when you need to send an email to someone, you just import these, like put these reusable in the page and call this custom. And you don't need to do anything else, just call the custom. And if you need to maintain these or make a change in an email text or something, all the emails are in the same place. And everything in your app that sends an email is in that reusable. You came here, you look for your custom events, and then you make the change in only one place. So created the structuring elements, you go to the next step, that is testing. So test everything without your front end. Like you test your engine, you test your database, you test your custom events working. Make those tests without your front end developed. And then you pave the roads to your overhaul. So the next steps are pretty easy. Like the next steps are probably of your knowledge. You just need to like create the new pages, maybe copying the old one, maybe duplicating old one, and then like remove the connections with the old database model and connect with the new ones as well. The end of this process is you have two apps running in the same time, the old version, like running over the old database. Everything that happens in the old app version will be synced with the new database through your database triggers. And you have the new version running over your new structure and your new database, and everything that happens and every update that you do to your new database will be synced with the old database tables through the database trigger. So when you are there, you can like run tests of the new app in development. You can push live. You can run live tests with the new app. You can send the new app for some customers to make sure that it is okay. And then you can shut down the old one. So this is what I have to present to you in general terms on the process. This is a process that is very specific for each app and each situation. So the idea here is you have a broad idea of how it works and and like the main steps to make this happen. And like you have my email, you have my phone number. If you like having specific questions or when you start to do these and need more information or anything, you can feel free to reach me out. And also, um, if anyone have any question, please you can do these in the chat. I don't know if I can open camera and everything to everybody. I don't know how to do this, but yeah, you can. Like, let's open to question. I will move back to the first slide here, so we can have the topics we cover. And if someone have any question there, please feel free. I don't know if, yeah, I couldn't find any way to. Oh, good. Kelly is questioning how do I communicate to clients the cost of these in time and financially. In fact, the three clients that I have, all of them were long-term relationships. I just completed one overhauling, and it took about 6 to 7 months to do. But like the way we did to convince them to do was we made a small, we overhauled just one page. So they have one page that was critical and it was taking like 10 minutes to create a report. And we were able to overhaul it and it creates the report in 2 seconds. So they saw the value instantaneously. And then we start the process. It costs money for sure and also time. And it's very hard to make an estimation. Like if I was take a project a, like a fixed price project, it would be hard. Probably I would split these in different phases or try to migrate one model, the main model first, and then migrate the other models of the app instead of like doing the whole thing together. I don't know if you answer your question, Kelly, but being in a long-term relationship is way better. And so Franco is asking if I have experience if moving the backend for channel. I actually don't have. I only in the last 5 years I only work with Bubble. But like it's not the content here is not bubble related, it's more open. So you can use the same approach in any technology. We need to create a sync process that runs every time. So if you were running in other another technology like other app or anything, you need to have like webhooks and like connections to um, ensure that the data is synced. But it would be the same, like create the database in channel, might put the triggers in place. After the triggers are in place, migrate the data, and then build your new app over the new foundation. And Kelly said that in her experience, new clients don't want to hear it. You're totally sure, Kelly. But at least like my main market right now are clients that are suffering with their current systems. They have a lot of, like the system has a lot of bugs and don't perform well, and they are spending a lot of money to maintain and facing challenges to scale. Um, so that's why they like to hear because like when I talk about the points they are suffering, they know that, like they recognize those points and start to believe that what I'm saying might be the truth. Welcome, Marco, Franco. Any other questions, guys? Yeah, Kelly, the challenge is if they have the budget or not. They usually doesn't have the budget. They usually just want like to create new features, but like it's something that you need to show them. If you have a long-term relationship, they are paying you per month, like and like the balance is you can develop faster and deliver more features if you do this first. So that's the challenge, like show them the advantage and also the user experience. Usually the user experience is the most relevant because when they saw their app running like in a single page app with a well-structured database, and you can do this just in one model, and they will feel the difference instantaneously. But for sure, if the original app was not built properly, because that's the case. If it's running fine, you don't need to overhaul it, right? Yeah, exactly, Kelly. That's my feeling too. Like, good point of no code is that um, anyone can develop an app that works. And what usually happens is um, someone in the company or some friends or the founder itself develops something and it works, and then it's great. And then he decides like, can you do one more feature? And then this guy do one more feature, and then we start building the app in that way. Um, it works very fine when you are in the MVP, in the starting, like before launch or in the early days of the company. But when you are like running the company after 2 or 3 days, you start to suffer a lot with this. And that's a time when you need someone with more knowledge about not only Bubble, but about technology and systems to like overhaul your app, even though you overhaul like model by model and in steps. But you need someone to do this and to allow that your app keep growing in your company scale. And no one wants to do this. Like there is just a few developers looking for this market. Most of them are looking for MVPs and creating an app super fast. The pitfall is you will need to be running, looking for clients every time, because like an MVP, you can deliver an MVP like in 3 weeks, a month, but then you need a new client. So every month you need to look for new clients. And if you go to a market of apps that are already running, already with revenue, companies that have a team of like 3 or 4 developers, and like trying to scale, there is, yeah, maybe just you and me, Kelly. I believe like Lucas is also working with existing apps, and maybe we have like more 2 or 3 guys in this, but no one wants this. It's not easy at all as well. Like it's, you'll be guilty of the everything that happens even if you didn't develop it. Yeah, it's really fun, and also really, I always be very happy when I saw the difference in like performance and also um, consistency in the behavior. Like usually I suffer for 2 or 3 or 4 months, and then people say, "Whoa, now I got it. Now I see the difference." Um, any other question? Okay, all right. Thank you, Kelly. So, guys, if no one has any other question, that's what I had to present to you. Um, I will, like in 20 minutes, I will host another session about this part of the stuff. Um, this part. So how not repeat yourself, but everything together, and how to create no front end reusables. Um, if you want to learn more about this, I'll be happy to have you with me again in 20 minutes. So thank you, everyone. And I was expecting that everyone could be together in the same room with camera on and audio, but I don't believe it's possible. So thank you, guys. See you. Bye bye.